What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Wolfcrier here, and welcome back to another Path of Exile Basics video. And before we dive into this one, I would like to first apologize for the lack of follow-up to this series back in 2020. It was a bumpy year for me, but my goal is to put all of that behind me and focus on bringing this series back. Now, with that out of the way, let's dive into gems in Path of Exile. While class choice matters greatly and can help augment your playstyle and choices, skills are the most defining characteristic of your build. In Path of Exile, skills are obtained through use of gems and can be used by every character class in the game. Certain character classes will obviously get better use out of certain skills due to their ascendancy passives and their starting position on the passive tree, but class choice itself does not negate the ability to use any skill whatsoever. You do, however, need to meet the gem's attribute requirements in order to socket the gem, but many skills in the game can actually be used by multiple classes and ascendancy choices and still be viable. There are over 400 different gems in the game, and more are added with almost every new league, giving you many different ways to play many different builds. These include active skill gems, which can be damaging skills, defensive skills, or buffs to your character, as well as support skill gems, which offer many different bonuses to those active skill gems. One thing you do want to keep in mind, however, is that based on your class, you might have easier access to certain attributes, and as gems level, the attribute requirements also go up as well. There might be times that you are unable to level up a gem or don't want to level up a gem due to the increase of attribute requirements. If you accidentally over-level a gem and can no longer use it, there is a way to drop a gem's level. Merely sell the gem to the vendor with one orb of scouring that will drop the gem by one level. You can do this multiple times if you need to drop it several levels, or you can sell the gem to the vendor alongside an orb of regret and remove all levels entirely, dropping it down to a level 1 version of the gem. Skill gems can only be placed into sockets that match the gem's color, with the exception of white sockets that can hold gems of any color. And for a skill to be usable by your character, it must first be placed into a socket on any piece of gear that your character is currently wearing. And once the gem is socketed, you can place that skill onto your skill bar. For a support skill gem to affect an active one, it must be placed within a socket that is linked to the socket containing that active skill gem. Now, there are a few unique items within the game that can bypass this requirement, but for the most part, these gems need to be linked in order to affect each other. The more support gems you have linked to an active skill gem can greatly affect the skill's power and utility. Also, if you have a support gem linked to multiple active skill gems, all of those skill gems will gain the bonuses of that support gem, although in the majority of cases, this will not be super beneficial for your main damaging skills. So, how do you get gems in Path of Exile? Every class gets a specific gem as they start their journey on the Twilight Strand, which can be socketed into that first weapon you find as you begin the campaign. Upon reaching the large chest on that beach, you will find your first support gem, which can also be linked to your main skill in that starter weapon. Remember that it needs to be linked to the active skill in order for that skill to gain its effect or bonuses. As you continue playing, certain quest completions will offer gems as a reward, and once these quests have been completed, all of those gems that were offered in that reward, as well as several others, become purchasable from a vendor in that Axe town. Now, remember when I told you that all classes can use all skills in the game? That is 100% true. However, all classes do not initially have access to all skills from these quest completions. Certain skills might not be available to your class until later on in the campaign. So if you are looking to start with a specific skill, you might want to check out the Path of Exile wiki for information on that specific gem and which classes have early access to it. However, in Act 3, the NPC Siosa in the library will sell every skill gem in the game regardless of those class requirements once you complete the quest, A Fixture of Fate. Unlike the vendors in town, however, Siosa does require you to have the required currency necessary in order to buy those gems within your inventory at the time of purchase. And then in Act 6, Lily Roth in town will also sell all skill gems after completing the Fallen from Grace quest. Lily Roth will also sell skill gems in Act 10 and the epilogue of the campaign. Gems can also be acquired as drops in the game, and there are certain gems which are only obtainable as random drops. These are the support gems Empower, Enhance, and Enlighten, and the Portal skill gem. And there are also awakened support gems which can be dropped by the Conquerors of the Atlas and Sirius in Path of Exile's endgame. And those awakened support gems are stronger versions of their counterparts, but can be quite rare and expensive. Corrupted Vaal skill gems can be found within Vaal side areas, and alternate quality gems can be found within Heist blueprints. We will discuss these two in a bit more detail later on in the video. There are many different types of skill gems in Path of Exile, from attack and spell gems, which are going to be your main sources of damage output, to trigger spells such as cast when damage taken and cast on crit, as well as guard skills, aura skills, herald skills, movement skills, and your totem, trap, mine, and brand skills, as well as support skills. Every gem has several tags attached to it related to the type of skill it is, the damage type, area of effect, duration. All of these tags dictate whether certain support gems can work with each skill gem and how they are affecting them. There are quite a few different tags with more added every now and then, so it definitely can be helpful to familiarize those that are part of your desired skill set. When looking at skills, it's important to also read the text as well as the tags that are on the gem, as this can give you valuable information on the skill or support gem, including whether it requires a certain type of weapon or whether a support skill can benefit things like totems, minions, traps, etc. Another way to see if a support gem will affect any of your currently socketed active skill gems is to simply hover your mouse over the gem. This will bring up a small pop-up with green check marks next to valid skill gems that are socketed within your gear and red X's next to skill gems that won't benefit at all from that specific support gem. And as gems level up, their power grows. The maximum level that you can reach through leveling a gem is level 20, but it is possible to get your gem higher than that max level, which we'll also discuss later on when we talk about Vaal gems. All gems also have a secondary stat that can be augmented by increasing the gem's quality. There are a couple of different ways to increase the quality of a gem, and it is also possible to get gems that drop with increased quality already on it. Gem Cutter's Prisms can be used to increase a gem's quality up to 20%. Each Gem Cutter Prism increases the quality of a gem by 1%, and if you are finding it hard to obtain GCPs, which are Gem Cutter Prisms, there is a vendor recipe in the game that will allow you to sell one level 20 gem plus one Gem Cutter's Prism to the vendor, and it will net a level 1 quality 20 gem, which you can then re-level the gem while it's at full quality. And another thing I want to point out quickly is while you are out farming and finding gems that already have increased quality on them, you want to remember that if you sell gems to the vendor equaling 40% quality, it will return a Gem Cutter's Prism as payment. During a season, I usually have a tab set aside just for gems with increased quality already on them so that I can bulk sell them to the vendor and receive Gem Cutter Prisms in return. If you are pushing into endgame in Path of Exile, it is very important to up the quality of all of your gems for the most part. A few gems here and there, the secondary quality that's on them really isn't all that beneficial, but for your main damage dealing skills and your support gems that support those skills, you are definitely going to want to up the quality. Earlier in the video, I brought up corrupted Vaal gems, and I wanted to elaborate on those as well as other corruptions that are possible on gems. Vaal gems are a corrupted version of a skill gem that includes the base version of that skill as well as a more powerful Vaal version of the skill, which can only be used after enough souls have been gathered by the gem to activate that more powerful version. Both versions can be placed on your skill bar so that you can use the normal version most of the time, and then when available, you can use the upgraded Vaal version. Souls are gathered by killing enemies, and the number of souls required vary by the gem, and you can only store one charge of the Vaal skill at any time, and if you leave the instanced area, all souls are lost and you will have to gain them back by killing more monsters. These gems usually drop in Vaal side areas, which are mini instances that can appear from time to time within the campaign or during endgame and are marked with a red glowing entrance. It is worth noting that Vaal gems can still be leveled, but cannot attain any more quality than what is already on the gem when it drops. Vaal gems can also be obtained occasionally through the use of a Vaal orb on a gem. When you use a Vaal orb on any item in the game, it is known as corrupting the item and can have wildly varying degrees of effects on them. When you use a Vaal orb on a skill gem, it can possibly become the Vaal version of that skill, and there are other corruptions that can occur as well. For instance, when you use a Vaal orb on a gem that is level 20 with 20 quality, it has the possibility of gaining a level, bumping the gem up to level 21, but it can also lose a level and knock it back down to level 19 permanently. It can also lose quality or gain quality up to 23. And it can also do absolutely nothing at all, but once a gem is corrupted, it cannot be changed through the use of currency like Gem Cutter Prisms. The last thing I want to touch on in this video are alternate quality gems. I won't be going into too much detail due to the sheer number of these gems, but the Heist League recently added new gem types known as alternate quality gems to Path of Exile. As their name implies, these gems have different affixes attributed to the quality portion of the gem. Some of these gems can be much stronger than their counterparts and are heavily sought after, but be wary when trading, as there are more than one alternate quality gem for many of the gems out there. These gems can be found in certain heist blueprints, and as usual, you can trade for these gems as well if you are in the trade league. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully this video helped somebody out there. I do look forward to getting back into doing the Path of Exile Basics videos. That is something that is going to be heavily prevalent on this channel, as well as my other content. I want to say thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I always greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let me know down in the comment section down below your thoughts on this video and whether or not it was helpful. Thank you so very much, and you all have a fantastic day. Peace.